Welcome to this video for the course Game Programming. My name is Paul and today we are going to look into inheritance. Before we start looking at the code, let's have a look at the nature of inheritance. Here's a screenshot from a classic game called Plants vs. Zombies. It's a game in which zombies invade your garden and try to conquer your home, and you have to defend by using plants. And if you look at the right, you can see many zombies approaching, and you can see there's different types of them. And each of these zombie types will need a class because it will have code in it representing the possible actions of and the special actions of these zombies. But what you don't want to do is create classes for each of these types of zombies in which you copy all of the code for the zombie again and again. So let's look at it more closely. There's a simple type of zombie here, which has no special attributes. And we'll start with that one, and we'll code it. And then we'll create the other ones by adding features in a separate class, which builds on the base zombie. And this is called inheritance. And we'll close this example and start looking at the code right now. So I'm using this simple example again. I've used it before with the program in which we have a die which we can throw and have a look at the number of eyes. And what I want to do is create a special kind of die. And it's a bit tricky example because I will create a die that can cheat. So what I want to do is to be able to do this. And then when I cheat, then I can call hooray, I got a 6 because I'm sure to throw a 6. Of course, this is still wrong, a compile error because the code is not there yet. So I'm going to create a new class and I'll call it cheat die, which will be based on the original die we already have. So, and I'm indicated this by adding a colon and the name of the class die. And this says this class cheat die is an extension of the class die, and this is called the subclass. This is the superclass, also called the base class. And right now I'm going to code it. So what I need to create this cheating die is I need two variables. First of all, I need an int to denote my desired value, like the 6. But also I don't want this cheating die to cheat all the time. So it will cheat sometimes and sometimes it will be a normal die. So I'll need a boolean to indicate if I'm cheating this time. So that's bool is cheating. So next I'm going to create the method which does the cheating, like here. And let's make that. And of course, as a parameter, I will give the number I want. So I'll just abbreviate it to dv for desired value. And what I'm doing in this method is I will set the desired value. And I'll set the value for is cheating. And I'll set that to true. But first of all, I want you to notice one thing, like although this is still not really correct because there's nothing here yet, I can already make die number 2. I can make it a cheat die, and you'll see, notice that throw die and get eyes are okay. There's no compile errors. And that is, although they're not here. And this is because the cheat die is an extension of the die. This means that it inherits all of the methods of the die. So it has a throw die and a get eyes and a set faces. So there's no error here. There's an error here though, although I've just coded it, and we'll discuss that later. So we have the first method, so the extension to the die, but nothing is done about the throwing yet, because it will still use this method. And we'll have to make a new version of that method. And this method will have to look at the value of is cheating. If it's true, it will give the desired value to the number of eyes. And when not, it will just do the normal throw die method. So let's make that, and there'll be lots of compile errors at first, but we'll look at them into them one by one. So first, let's make the content. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the is cheating boolean. And what I want to do, if I'm cheating, I will want the eyes thrown variable. And you'll notice it won't show, and in a moment I'll tell you why. And also, we won't be cheating the next time. So cheating is just for one time. So I'm going to set is cheating to false. So there's also an else. What's going to happen if we are not cheating? I just want to do the normal die throwing, which is in the superclass. So now I might copy this line of code here. But that's just what I don't want to do, because that will be code duplication. Instead, I want to call this method in the superclass. And that's done by using the keyword base. And now I can select throw die. So there are still some problems here, because eyes thrown is inaccessible due to its protection level. And this has to do with the public, private, and visibility keywords. And normally a variable is only visible within its own class. And what we want to do now is make it visible inside its own class and the subclass. And there's a special keyword for it, and that's protected. And now I can access the variable. There's another problem here. It says it hides another method, namely the throw die in the class die. And this is not what we want. We want to replace it in this class. And this is called an override. So, of course, I forgot the word public. Override throw die. And now there's still a problem. This is called override. When I improve on a method that's already present in the superclass and I'm going to rewrite it, that's called an override in object-oriented programming. And you make it so by adding this keyword. But it still won't allow it. And it says it cannot override the method because it's not marked virtual. And this is a special thing in C#. You can only override methods that are declared virtual. So I'm going to put it in here. And now my problems have disappeared. So This is the base code. And one more thing about this virtual. This is also a method of protecting your code from malicious people who want to make an extension on it. If you leave out the virtual, you can't override this method, so you can't create the cheat die class. So now let's look at the code that's running it. And you see there's still a problem here. This is all right. I've created a new cheat die and put it in a variable of type die. That's okay because a cheat die is a special kind of die, so it will fit in this method. So if I were to turn it around, like then it will give an error because this is the more general type and we can't put that into the special variable of the type cheat die. But since cheat die is always a die, we can do the line like the D2 here. But there's still a problem with this call here. And that has to do with the declaration of D2. It's declared as a simple die. And a simple die doesn't have a method cheat. So what I want to do now is I want to make sure that this method is callable. And that's done by adding a class cast. And I need to do it in a very special way because it's like this. Because what it does now, it takes the variable D2, casts it to a cheat die, and then it will call the method cheat. So we still have a problem here, so let's look at what it is. It's inaccessible due to its protection level. Yeah, I forgot the public. And let's look again. Okay, we don't have any errors anymore. Let's try it. So by coincidence, it has thrown 2 6s in the first throw, but you see in the second throw, the 6 is guaranteed. Let's try it again. And now we've got 2 5s and again the 6 in the second throw. And again. So this seems to work. So let's look at a few points in more detail. We've been looking at this class cast. So what happens if we do this? You see there's no error message. But there is a problem with this line because D1 is a normal die, so it isn't a cheat die. But this is at compile time, the compiler can't see it. And because this may have changed, for instance, when this call comes. So let's see what happens at runtime. And now I can get an invalid class cast exception that wasn't handled. So this will be a runtime error. And right here, when running it, it will notice D1 is still a normal die, so it can't be cast into a cheat die. So when using these class cast, you have to be very, very careful. So we've seen that we can create a subclass and in which we add methods to that are on top of the methods that are already in the base class. We can replace a method by a better version for this class. And we're still missing out on one thing, which is the constructor. We have a constructor here, and I'm going to make a similar one in the cheat die class. So cheat die, and I'm going to make it in such a way that we can create a cheat die in exactly the same way as a normal die. And there's something special here too, because What we want to do is, of course, more or less the same as we do here. And again, we don't want to copy the code. And we want to refer to the constructor of the superclass. And that's done in this way. And now we can add some extra stuff that we're doing in this constructor, and that is giving this is cheating boolean its starting value, and we'll start out with is cheating is false. So this is how a constructor is made in a subclass. We call the constructor of the superclass, which will create all of the stuff we need for the normal die. And then in the body of the method, we can do something special for the subclass. And of course, I could have left this out and put the is false here. But for the sake of the example, I've put it here. So there's one more thing we need to talk about. And that's right here, the throw die calls. So with D1 it's simple, but with D2 it's not so simple, because there's two possible methods to be called, and we're not indicating which one to use. Here's the simple one from the die, and here's the override in the subclass. Well, this is what is done in object-oriented programming. When there's such a choice, an object will always do the most specific method so that is available. Since this is a cheat die, it will do the most specific one, and that's this one, and the override. And this is done automatically, and it's very useful, because you don't have to do anything special to make, for instance, the zombies in the game we looked on earlier, make them do their special thing. It will just happen by itself. And there's a special term for this, and this is called polymorphism. So you don't need to do anything special to make objects use their special overrides. And this concludes the video on inheritance. Thank you for watching.